My name is Angie Mock. I'm the publisher of the San Antonio Report. We are so glad that you are all here for our District 4 City Council debate. And we are so grateful for Port SA for providing us this incredible space and venue for this event. If you don't know, the San Antonio Report is a nonprofit local news organization, and at the core of what we do is civic engagement. I don't know if any of you guys know or saw, but earlier this week on Tuesday, we did a mayoral debate with 8 candidates. We had about 500 people show up for that. And so tonight we're doing D4 and D6. Next week, we're doing D8 and D9, and we'll be there when the runoffs happen to bring you guys and the whole city of San Antonio the information you need when you show up to the polls. I want to bring, before I introduce our moderator for the evening, obviously you folks are here because you care about democracy, and hats off to you. There's a newsletter that we have that really weekly keeps you tuned in to everything government and politics in San Antonio. It's called the Bexar County Ballot, and the newsletter is written by our government and politics reporter, Andrea Dresch, who will be the second moderator for the D6 debate. And just go to sanantonio.report.org, and the right-hand top, you'll see newsletters, and subscribe to that newsletter because it will keep you so informed about what's happening and keep you informed about the accountability that we have in the whole government and politics arena in San Antonio. And Andrea is an incredible writer. I hope you read her stuff. So without further ado, I'm going to ask our moderator, Leigh Munsil, who's our publisher, I'm the publisher, who's our editor-in-chief, to bring our candidates on stage, and we'll get this debate started. Thank you so much.
Well, that is a big stage to cross, so let's give the candidates a couple seconds to settle in before we get going for our District 4 debate. Thank you all for being here. My name is Leigh Munsil. I'm the editor-in-chief of the nonprofit newsroom San Antonio Report, and I'm joined today by 4 candidates in the District 4 City Council race. Ernesto Arrellano was a member of the South San Antonio ISD School Board that was recently taken over by the state, and was a member of the SAWS Board. He's also an Air Force veteran and has an accounting degree from UTSA. Johnathon Cruz is a principal at the McNair Middle School. Jose Pepe Martinez is the owner of a trucking company that provides materials for state infrastructure all over Texas. Edward Mungia is a longtime council staffer who also served on South San ISD's Board of Trustees. They'll tell you much more about them, but that's the little bit of fun facts I have from our voter guide. Quick shout out to the San Antonio Report's voter guide on our website. There's tons of information and Q&As with many of the candidates, if not all of the candidates. Andrea Dresch, our government and politics reporter, has worked very hard on that voter guide. So we're going to get started talking about District 4 tonight. San Antonio City Council District 4 encompasses the city's southwest side and has been represented for 6 years on the City Council by Councilwoman Adriana Rocha Garcia, who is now seeking the mayor's seat, and so she's not seeking re-election to the council seat, which makes this an open race. This is why we've been highlighting in our debate series for city council. This is the first of 4 we'll be doing in the open races in San Antonio. There are 5 candidates running to take her place this year, all with interesting backgrounds and visions for what this part of the city needs. Remember that one of these candidates, and one who is not here tonight, is certain to be the next council person, but if no one takes at least 50% of the vote on May 3rd, the top 2 finishers will go on to a June 7th runoff. Here's how this debate is going to go. When I ask you a question, you will have 1 minute to respond. If I ask a follow-up question, you'll get 1 minute to respond, or if a rebuttal is needed, you'll get 30 seconds, and that will be awarded at my discretion. One quick note for the crowd. You seem like a great crowd, so you may not need this. This debate is exactly 1 hour, and disruptions from the audience will take away from the candidates' time to make their cases to voters. So please keep your applause short and respectful. Question 1, let's get started. And we'll just go down the line. That's gonna be easiest for tonight. So the first question is, in a couple of months, one of you will be sitting on the city council dais multiple times a week, deciding issues not just for District 4, but the whole community. Tell us in 1 minute about your background and experience and why you think it qualifies you for this important job. Mr. Arrellano.
Thank you. Thank you, Leigh. So my background is all about leadership. I've been in the public and private sector as a leader for over 35 years at work and at SAWS for 5 years and at South San for 5 years. And I've gone through a lot of different things, challenging, non-challenging, but the thing that I always strive for is to make sure that whatever I do, that at the end of the day, it's better than what it was before. So those 35 years of experience bring a lot of ability to get work done and to make sure that I have that I use my contacts that I've gotten over these 35 years to make sure that District 4 and all the potential that it has is finally realized. There's a lot of talk about what can happen in District 4, but really nothing ever gets done. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to make sure that the kids of District 4 get the proper education as we bring in jobs so that they get those jobs and not from out of state. Thank you
very much. And making sure everyone can see the clock over there, but you did a great job. Thank you so much for that. Let's move on to Mr. Cruz.
Yes, first off, good evening. I want to thank the San Antonio Report and the beautiful Boeing Center for inviting us to be here. As I have said numerous times, anytime we're able to bring candidates together to talk about our district's future, that's always a great thing. My name is Johnathon Cruz, born and raised here in District 4. I'm a proud graduate of Southwest High School. I do want to give a special shout out to the Southwest High School men's soccer team as they'll be competing for the state championship in about 20 minutes. So good luck to them. I've been in education for about the last 10 years, the last 4 years as a public school principal, and I love this community. You know, the big question is, why am I here? Why did I decide to enter into this race? My whole campaign motto is about where people matter. We need municipal government to start working for people, going back to the basics, because people of District 4 are working harder than ever to get by, and it's time that we put people over politics. So I'm looking forward to participating in this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. I wasn't expecting the jumping up to the front, but our videographer is very astute, so I'm sure we'll get you on the video. All right, Pepe Martinez.
Well, my name is Jose Martinez, but all my life I've been known as Pepe. I was born and raised right here in District 4, actually not too far from here on Price Avenue in Bynum. I'm married. I'm raising my 3 children right here in District 4. I'm a business owner. I run a trucking company that operates here in San Antonio. And I've been providing not only good paying jobs for many families for the last 13 years. And as a true leader of my company, I know how important it is to support our community and to support our small businesses. But being a lifelong resident of District 4 has not only given me the ability to learn what the issues and concerns are of District 4, but it has given me the passion to believe in what the future brings for District 4. So I'm committed to bringing a better future and a real representation, equal representation to District 4.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Mungia.
Thank you very much. I want to thank Port San Antonio for hosting us today and SA Report for having this wonderful town hall. We haven't had this in District 4 in a very long time, so I appreciate the opportunity. So I was born and raised in District 4. The first house I ever lived in was also on Price, and I grew up in the Valley High neighborhood. And at the age of 15, at the very first time, I took a field trip to City Hall, where I met a council aide who told me, if you want to do something in local politics, you belong here and you can do it. That same year, I volunteered on my very first campaign, who was a guy running for mayor. You might have heard of him. His name was Julian Castro, and he won that year. And so I volunteered on a couple other campaigns. I got involved in SA 2020. First in my family to go to college, graduate with a bachelor's degree in political science, came back to San Antonio, and decided to intern for my councilman, who was Ray Saldana. And so they said after 2 months, he said, you could work a full-time job here if you'd like. So I was there for almost 9 years. So ever since then, I've been serving the residents of District 4 very proudly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you all sticking to the time limit. That's going to make this go by really well, so thank you very much for that. I'd like to ask you a little bit about District 4, and we'll start on that side and come back this direction. Some of the city's biggest challenges are especially challenging in District 4, specifically the dangers posed by our stray animal problem, as well as homelessness and the need for mental health-minded policing. How do you plan to go about improving outcomes for your district in these areas?
Absolutely. So in District 4, we will not be just defined by our problems. We're in District 4 in this building with some worldwide clients working here. So yes, we do have challenges. I have been out there with residents personally addressing some of those challenges. And I think what it's going to take is more city staff to address our problems. We do have an aggressive dog problem, a stray dog problem in District 4. We need more ACS officers. I just found out this week that we had an ACS officer dedicated to District 4. They've since been pulled and are working on citywide issues. We can't have that. We need someone specifically to work in District 4. And so I think it's about bringing city staff to our community, showing them the problems. Having been someone who's been on site with residents, dealing with sidewalk issues or street issues, speeding traffic, I've been there and I've helped get problems solved. So it's about bringing more of our residents into the fold and better communicating from the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez.
Well, as a lifelong resident, District 4 has been ignored for a long time. I think in terms of economic development, infrastructure, there's a lot of community that still don't have sidewalks. And as far as the stray dog, I think we did have a problem. There were over 4,800 calls to aggressive animals to the city of San Antonio, and over 300 of them resulted in bodily injury or pierces skin on our residents. And our public safety should be number one, but overall, I think we need to spend more time in making sure that our departments have the proper funding so that they can do their job efficiently and take care of our city the way we should be taken care of.
Thank you. Mr. Cruz?
I'm glad we're starting with this question because it really boils down to public safety, right? Every resident that I speak to and know in District 4's top priority is public safety. And one thing I want to make sure that I have a clear message for is that there is a clear inequity of city services with District 4 regarding these issues of stray dogs, homelessness here in District 4. Because if we were to take a trip down to the north side districts, yes, they're facing those issues, but not as much as here in District 4, right? When it comes to stray dogs, we need to hit it where it is, and making sure that we're holding pet owners responsible. No kid should have to worry about getting attacked by a dog, whether they're going to school, whether they're checking the mail. No elderly person should be in fear of getting attacked by a dog as well. We need to ensure that city government is providing the necessary resources to make citizens safe, because we all want to do our part in ensuring that we feel safe in our community. So one of the messages that you're going to hear me talk about is a true investment in our youth, in mental health, because I think that's where we're going to get long-term results.
Thank you. Mr. Arellano.
Thank you so much. Yeah, this is an important question. It's an important topic. My wife and I live in an area in District 4 where dogs are dumped all the time. And we personally have adopted 3 of those dogs that were dumped, and another one, a beautiful German Shepherd, my oldest son has her now. So, but we can't continue to do that. I mean, so it is a safety issue, as Mr. Cruz was saying. And it's not just a safety issue for the kids that are walking or the people that are walking in their neighborhoods, but when an officer is called and an officer comes down, they're in danger too. So these are things that need to be fixed, and to hear that this is the first time that we're hearing that District 4 doesn't have a dedicated officer for that is it says a lot about the current councilwoman, because that is just that shouldn't be happening. There's just no way that should happen, and I would make sure that doesn't happen. That District 4 does have representation to make sure that doesn't happen anymore.
Thank you. I feel like that's a good segue into a question I really want to ask that's kind of complicated and nuanced. So Andrea's running the clock. I'm going to make you do 1:30 on these ones instead of a minute. But we'll start here again. But listen carefully and feel free to ask me to ask the question again if need be. Many of you cited efforts to beautify District 4 through road, drainage, and code efforts in your Q&As on our voter guide. But you also said the district needs to attract more big employers to bring better paying jobs to this area. City leaders believe the recent acquisition of a JCB factory here is a huge get for the community in terms of job creation. But adding more manufacturing employers in this area doesn't necessarily improve the quality of life for nearby residents. Do you think the city is on the right track with the types of employers it's bringing into District 4? And if not, how would you go about changing that approach at City Hall?
Me first, right? So thank you. Thank you for the question. The way to, and you'll hear me say this a couple of times, there are 2 ways for District 4 to realize the potential that it does have. We have Port SA, we have the new hospital being built, we've got Texas A&M San Antonio and Palo Alto College all within spitting distance of each other. And then we've got the Toyota plant and we've got the JCB coming in. So, but the problem that I see is that in order to attract these type of businesses and businesses of the future for our kids to be able to come and work at, the only way you can do that is make sure that we have enough water and we have enough electricity. Those are the first 2 things that businesses want to know if they're going to come to a region. And the education level of the kids, of the people that are around, that are going to be around the plant. So those are the things that need to be worked on, is making sure that we have those things set up so that the businesses want to come here. And the main thing for me is the education of those kids, because it doesn't do any good to bring on these great paying jobs if they're going to go somewhere else besides District 4. And that would be a shame to have that happen. And my background as a leader at SAWS and in education, well, I will bring that to bear, along with working with people like Rebecca Clay Flores at the Commissioner's Court to make sure that more jobs like those come to District 4, so that we take advantage of those jobs. Thank you.
Mr. Cruz.
I don't think anyone disagrees that District 4 does need more economic development, right? And we have to ask the question of how come where there's not small businesses or large corporations coming into District 4 to really invest and ensure that there's good paying jobs, right? And it starts with infrastructure, right? Businesses want to be able to develop in areas where, one, that they know that employees are ready to work, 2, where there's low crime. No business is going to want to pop up in an area where they know there's higher crime rates with lower offenses with juveniles when it comes to shoplifting or vandalism or graffiti offenses, right? We do need to beautify District 4, and the next councilman for District 4 is going to have a real opportunity for the next bond election to demand equity when it comes to infrastructure funding. As I mentioned before, no one in District 4 is asking for anything over the top. The average citizen in this community is wanting the government to fix our streets, have good access to sidewalks and lighting around public buildings, good water systems, right? These are the things that we have to take care of before we see the type of economic development in this community that we deserve, right? And being in education, that's the second part. We need to work on workforce development, education, training. As Ernesto spoke about, we do have a lot of colleges and universities in our backyard. We need to partner more with them. We need to demand a cafe college. We need to ensure that when our students leave high school, they're ready to go, whether it's filled in career and technical or college and beyond. We have to do more to invest in District 4.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez.
Sure, thank you for the question. And I think that's one of the main reasons that I'm running for city council is to bring more economic development to our district. Not only will that bring jobs, but good paying jobs, jobs that come with family benefits. You can't have a good quality of life if you don't have access to health care. You can't secure the next generation of your family if you don't have access to life insurance. And I think bringing those jobs, just like JCB, which will bring 1,500 jobs, and I think in 2027, that's good. But I think we need a lot more. And for the past decade, we've had leadership in District 4 that is not focused on economic development. And I think that's what I'm going to bring. That's my vision for District 4, is to bring more economic development so that we all can have an opportunity at a better quality of life. And it starts there with economic development. Thank you.
Mr. Mungia.
Thank you very much. In the past 10 years, this building was built in District 4. JCB came here and just announced they're expanding. Toyota has expanded in District 4. Port San Antonio is getting many, many new businesses coming here. They just unveiled recently a brand new building they're going to build because things are going so well with development in this district. We don't build streets and roads and sidewalks for big multinational companies like that. We build it for the residents. JCB didn't come down and said, oh, this road is really nice, we're going to make this right here. There was nothing where JCB was before they got built. So yes, we have to work for residents, building up their residential streets, their corridors, and their sidewalks, yes, primarily through the bond. But when we talk about bond equity, every council member gets to vote on that, and the entire city of San Antonio gets to vote on that. And we know there's a lot of high voter turnout in other parts of town, which is why things like this are very important. Because if we have a true equity bond, that actually might fail, unfortunately. That's a realistic thing. I've been through 2 bond cycles. So we have to get our pieces of the pie and direct them better to what we need, which in our district are better streets. And oh, by the way, we have to change the way we do streets because we have a lot of clay soil in District 4. And unless we address that development issue, our streets, we can dump $20 million into a street. 10 years later, we'll have to fix it again. And it takes somebody with experience knowing the UDC, the Unified Development Code and all that to get those things done for our residents.
Thank you. That's a great segue into something else I wanted to ask about, which is if elected to the city council, we'll come back this way again, you will immediately be thrown right into the 2026 fiscal year budget, and you'll have say over where the city's nearly $4 billion budget gets spent. In the city's 2024-2025 budget survey, and we won't see another one of those till about this summer, residents ranked homelessness, streets, housing, and animal care services among their top concerns. Which issues do you consider a top concern for District 4, and how would you work to address them in your first 100 days when you would be working on a budget cycle?
Absolutely. Well, I'm the only candidate who's been through just about 9 budget cycles already. And I've got a lot of council members who I know and endorsements from a few to kind of help get started on that. So I can hit the ground running for District 4 residents like nobody else can. I think what's really important are definitely homeless issues in District 4, and that takes more outreach, right? And there's nothing that you're going to do in one fiscal year that's going to completely solve all these issues, but you need to get started. And part of that is better outreach, better services for homelessness, so homeless folks feel like they can actually go to a shelter to get help somewhere. Right now, they're just choosing not to because of different reasons and different issues they're facing. Public safety is a huge issue, right? So we got to work with our safe officers, invest more in that, invest in after-school programs, because, oh yeah, by the way, we're going to be seeing federal cuts coming down the pipework. Nonprofits will be suffering. What's going to happen to our schools and after-school programming? We have to make sure those things, those supportive services for children, for senior citizens, will still be there even after the federal government cuts. So that's how I'd focus on that.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Sure. Well, that's, all these topics are extremely important. There's not one that really stands out and says that's the one I'm going to work on only or first. Homelessness is a big concern. But I think we need to have proper emergency funding for people that are displaced for a fire. They lost their home in a fire or in a flood. We need to make sure that there's funding in place for that. Not too long ago, I was putting up a sign. I put all my signs myself, by the way, and my wife before she gets mad at me. But I asked him, so why are you out here? What is it that you need to get you off these streets? And he says, well, he had a drug addiction, and he says, well, this is what's keeping me here, and I would like to see more mental health funding or help for that. And so most of these folks, some of them are displaced, some of them have different issues that keeps them there. But overall, I think we need to work smarter. Like Edward mentioned, there is budget cuts coming. COVID is gone. Those federal funds are gone. And we just got to work smarter. Make sure that we're working with nonprofits, and we're collaborating with our state, and county, and federal partners, so that we make sure that we don't just spend city money, that we're looking at grants or nonprofits that can do a job and replace the city government's job.
Thank you.
In that part. So
please.
they're all
your
important. But
yeah, go ahead. All right, thank you, Mr. Cruz.
I think one of the ways that we determine the priorities, right, we need to speak to the voters directly. And one of the things with District 4 historically is that we have one of the lowest voter turnout, voter participations out of all of the districts historically when it comes to local and national elections. And I think there's a reason for it, right? One of the most important things is trust. We need to ensure that the average citizen of District 4 trusts their local official to address important matters. And some of the most important issues that I speak to residents about, yes, as some of my colleagues up here are mentioning, are public safety. We need more police officers in high crime rate areas. We need more animal care officers to really tackle on the issue of stray dogs and cats. We also need to ensure that there's a true investment, as I mentioned before, with infrastructure needs, but we truly need to champion these issues. Because these are issues that have been happening year after year, cycle after cycle, and we're not seeing the kind of change that the average citizen of District 4 really wants.
Thank you. Mr. Arrellano.
Thank you very much. This is a very important question. So the way I approach this is you have to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. And hasn't been happening for the last 10, 12 years at City Hall, especially in District 4. The fact of the matter is, as I said before, District 4 is unique in that it has multiple universities in it, and the tech port, and a new hospital being built. So yes, those basic services need to be taken care of, but that's what they are. They're basic services. There are things that have to be done before you start spending any money on anything else with the city budget. You have to make sure that in District 4, that's the one that I'm concerned about, that we have enough money to take care of the stray dog issue, the homelessness issue, and some of the other issues. When it comes to mental health, one of the things that got me very upset was when closing of the old Southwest General Hospital, because there was a wing that had mental health, and it was specific for that. And here we are behind again. So it's going to take somebody that's gone through 10 budget cycles like I have in the school district and at SAWS, billion-dollar budgets, to make sure that that money is spent the way it should be so that we can take care of the basic needs and at the same time start working on bringing in better high-paid better paying jobs and the education of our kids so that they are prepared for those jobs. That's number one that has to be done. Thank you.
Thank you. You all filled out Q&As for our website with much more information. Quick plug, go to our voter guide. It has tons of information on all the candidates, but we pulled out something that we wanted to ask each of you individually, so we're going to do a round of individual questions, and I'm going to start with Mr. Arrellano about something in your background that I think many members of the audience would like to hear more about. You served as the South San Antonio ISD trustee before its state takeover. And you said in our Q&A that you are proud to have played a role in that turnaround of the district. The state's decision to take over South San ISD cited nearly 2 decades of administrative dysfunction, resulting in diminished student academic outcomes, poor financial controls, public distrust, and multiple TEA investigations. We'd like to hear you elaborate on how the school board experience prepared you for a city council role and why voters should trust that track record.
Sure, thank you for the question. So, when it comes to South San, when I came on in 2020, the investigation had already been going on for 2 years, we tried, myself and other trustees that I brought on during the election cycle in 2022, tried to get the district back up and running the way it should have been when I was going to school there. There were no problems when I was going to school at South San. But for the state to say that it's been going on for 20 years, there's nothing that board could do about the last 20 years. So what we did do in that time frame, especially the last 2 years, 2.5 years, was we did bring up the student enrollment. We did bring up the student outcomes. They were higher than they had been in several years. And we eliminated the $12 million deficit that the district had because of poor management and reopening of schools that should not have been reopened. So those are the things that we did, and that's what the state wanted, but they still took over. And my problem with the state taking over is not that they took over, it's the timing of when they took over. They should have done that in 2019, 2018 when they started that investigation, not 7 years later when the board was, the new board was already up and running and doing its best to get everything back to the way the state wanted. We were going by guidelines that the state set, but they were intent on taking over the district. They should have done that 7 years ago if they were going to do it at all.
Thank you for that answer. Mr. Cruz, you outlined in your Q&A a very detailed, go read it, plan for your first 100 days across a broad number of issues. You wrote in your Q&A that you plan to establish a District 4 Advisory Council and Youth Council made up of students from District 4 ISDs to provide ongoing input on key issues. As we all know, the City Council as it currently functions doesn't have a lot to say about education locally. Help our audience understand how someone with a background in education would approach this new role.
Absolutely. I think one of the most important things, as I have mentioned, is the need for investment in our youth, right? We're living in a different generation today, and kids today are different, right, in many different ways. And, you know, being in an education for the last 10 years, we've been seeing a lot of different trends with our students. And one of the most important issues that some of us are discussing is the need for mental health resources. At Southwest ISD, I've been lucky to be a part of the district. The last 2 years, we've established something called the Southwest Care Center, which provides 100% paid services for students and families who are having mental health issues. And because we did that because we're seeing a big increase of emergency detentions, EDs, with our students that are going through very tragic times in their life. And if we're not able to provide the resources and the rehabilitation services, we're sending them off to the wrong end. So that is a huge need. And the second thing is that yes, city government doesn't control education in our local ISDs, but there's a lot of opportunities for partnerships, workforce development, job training, and I think that's an area that the city did several years ago when they established pre-K for SA, which was a need to ensure that there's a long-term investment. So I think there's a lot of opportunities to partner with the city in terms of public education and post-secondary readiness.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez, you're a business owner. You talked a lot about business in your profile. You also said you wanted to invite investment from large corporations to bring their companies to District 4. This part of the city has struggled to attract large employers, with the exceptions of a few notable examples we've already talked about tonight. What, in your mind, would entice more employers to set up shop on the south side?
I'm sorry, repeat the last part.
Yeah, what would entice more employers to set up shop in District 4?
Well, I think, offering incentives to big corporations and companies to come here. But the main thing is cutting the red tape that the city has, on developing. There's certain restrictions or rezoning problems. I think we need to make that a little easier and cut that red tape that the city has put in some areas. So make sure that we have companies come here and invest so that everyone can have an access to good paying jobs. Again, you can't have a good quality of life if you don't have a proper good income. San Antonio continues to be have an 18% poverty rate, and it's stayed pretty stagnant for a long time already at 18, 19, 17. It doesn't move. What does that mean? We need good paying jobs here. So I think as a councilman, going straight to these companies and offering to come here, all you got to do is go out there and invite them and tell them, hey, the market here to purchase land is not as expensive as Austin, Houston, Dallas, or other big cities. San Antonio is a prime location for companies, but I think the city needs to cut that tape, so that we can invite not only corporations to bring jobs, but keep developing housing and apartment complexes. It's extremely important because there's a housing crisis also in San Antonio. So,
thank you. Mr. Mungia, you cited stray dogs, illegal dumping, code compliance, street drainage repairs as some of the issues you'd prioritize, including in your opening statement, you mentioned the dedicated animal care services officer to focus solely on District 4. I'm also curious about your City Hall experience, and you know that you're one of 10 council members, so how would you, as one of a whole panel, work to make sure the city is prioritizing issues that affect your district as significantly as those do?
Absolutely. Thank you for the question. So I've got a lot of experience at City Hall, and I've built a lot of relationships, not just with city staff at some of the highest levels of our city, but with also other city council members who understand that District 4 is different than their district. I just spoke to a candidate from District 9 yesterday, and she said, look, we need to really focus on equity. My district doesn't need as much as yours. Yours needs more. So I think that's important. It's also about convincing city staff that we have problems worth investing more in. We have a lot of illegal dumping that only exists in a few districts, right? The stray dog problem only exists in a few districts. So I think it's also about setting metrics and standards with the city manager. Now that we released that, the voters released that pay requirement, we have an opportunity to make metrics on the executive officer of the city to say, these are our goals collectively. We want to see all of these things drop citywide, which includes District 4. Otherwise, you may not get a pay increase or you may be terminated. And I think that's very important to get the executive leadership team of the city of San Antonio on board with what the needs of District 4 are. And that means taking them on a tour. That means showing them right outside my house when I drive down, there's usually always legal dumping. And I have to make that 311 call for my neighbors because people just drop dressers in a neighborhood, which is ridiculous. So we need more investment from those folks. And it's also about bringing other council members to our area, especially ones from the north side, to show how different things are and how much more we need investment in our community.
Thank you. Thank you each for those. Again, I don't know if they're fair, but we tried to make them as interesting as possible for the audience. Mr. Mungia, I'm going to start with you and come back this way again. Councilwoman Adriana Rocha Garcia has served this district for 6 years with a focus on developing underserved communities and improving educational attainment, among other issues. What do you think the District 4 office has been good at, and where could it improve?
Absolutely. So I think it's, the District 4 office, and I have worked there for 9 years, also serving under Councilman Ray Saldana, and we are responsive to residents, right? I see some neighborhood association representatives here. When people have called us with a problem, we have tried our best to go out there and fix it. There are people in Quintana that called about sidewalks. We got them sidewalks out there. They said Bynum is flooding. We did that project, right? I have a neighborhood on the southwest side on Dempsey say we need speed humps. I helped them get speed humps, right? We have people off of Zarzamora that live in the neighborhood on Ansley, and they needed a really bad street redone. We invested $1 million into that street. We have neighborhoods that got annexed into District 4, and right away we worked on their traffic issues as quickly as possible, and now we have a paid light signal intersection for that neighborhood. So what I think we can do more of when I'm a council member is do more grassroots outreach and knock on people's doors and tell them what programs are available and what things they have to offer in their neighborhoods and how we can help them achieve those goals for their own community.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez.
Thank you. Well, District 4, I think after talking to a lot of residents in our neighborhoods, are tired and feel kind of forgotten. They feel that they're not properly being represented in terms of providing jobs, like I mentioned. There's a woman out by Fair Meadows, by Palo Alto area, that's bought her home over 55 years ago. And to this day, she still does not have sidewalks in her street or her neighborhood. Another resident on Mayfield and Somerset still don't have sidewalks in their neighborhood. And just like everyone else, we pay city taxes, and we expect the city to invest them back into our communities. And a lot of people just feel forgotten. They feel like they don't matter, and they're tired of not being represented the way they should be. And as councilman, I'm going to make sure that I represent them on day one, to make sure those issues are addressed, to make sure that we provide a good representation equally like the rest of this city.
Thanks.
And continue to work not only smarter with the money, but make sure that everyone is equally represented.
Thank you. Mr. Cruz.
Yeah, one of the things that I appreciate about Councilwoman Rocha Garcia is that I truly believe she's an authentic public servant. Known her since she worked at Southwest ISD, and she does lead from the heart. But one of the areas that District 4 is continuing to lack is that community engagement with the political process. There are a vast majority of District 4 residents who do not know who their councilwoman is, who do not know where to go to access the councilwoman, right? So we really need to re-engage District 4 with the political process, because the bond election, the upcoming bond election is going to be extremely important. We need to flood those bond meetings. We need to ensure that there's transparency and accountability with our tax dollars. Because as I mentioned before, the people of District 4 are working harder than ever to get by, and some of us to get ahead, and we're not asking for anything extra. We're asking for basic city services and improved sidewalks and roads and economic development, and most importantly, we want to ensure that we feel safe. So community engagement and involving citizens into the political process needs to be a priority for the next councilman, for the next District 4 councilman.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So again, the true leader, right? You've got your staff members, right? And you got to make sure that your basic services are taken care of. That has to be done by direction to the staff. Get the guidance to them, let them do their job, oversee them, so that when I talk about chewing gum and walking at the same time, that's what I mean, is that you let the staff do their work, oversight with them, and then the council person can work with the mayor and the other council people, the county, to make sure that District 4 is heard for the future of District 4. Like I keep saying, this District 4 is unique in its opportunity. We need to stop talking about what District 4 in the past, yes, I grew up on a street that had no sidewalks, and it still doesn't have sidewalks. But we need to make sure that we take care of those things, let the people that do that, but the city council member needs to make sure that the future of the kids of this district are able to participate and take advantage of all the jobs that are going to come, all the opportunity for education that's already here, and make sure that they are able to prosper and hopefully stay in District 4 so that that cycle is broken.
Finish your thought.
Thank you. And we get to realize the vision that I have for District 4. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We just allowed you all to weigh in on Councilwoman Rocha Garcia. We also asked her for a question for you. So we asked Councilwoman Rocha Garcia to see what question she would pose to the candidates here tonight, and she gave us this. District 4 is the second largest district in terms of geography. How would you address the differing issues that prevail across the distinct parts of the district? We'll start on the other side. Go ahead, Mr. Mungia.
Thank you, Councilwoman, for that question. So I've been to neighborhood meetings and issues all throughout District 4. When people ask me, where is District 4? I say, think about South Park Mall, you go down Toyota, Medina River, right? You go west, we have Indian Creek, Pearsall Park, and you go north all the way up to SeaWorld. And so a lot of neighbors, we've been walking the entire district, not just for this campaign, but well before. And there are so many differing issues, right? You go knock over there by Petrenko, they really want to park. They don't have green space because it's being developed so much. You know, you go down to Lackland Terrace, a major concern for them is homelessness. You go down to the area I grew up in, Valley High, right? Some of it is sidewalks, infrastructure. And then it gets a little different when you go to the area that, you know, my grandmother lives in, which is over there by Ramirez Park on the south side. So it's different strokes for different folks, right? Different neighborhoods have different issues. At the end of the day, everybody wants the same thing in District 4, and that's to live in a nice, safe community, walkable, and have no issues with their neighbors.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, Councilwoman Rocha Garcia sent us this question, and she said that District 4 is the second largest district in terms of geography. How would you affect the differing issues that are happening in different parts of the district?
Okay. Well, you know, she's right. District 4 is about 60 square miles, and there are a lot of issues, a lot of concerns from different people. But I think making sure that we connect with them with town hall meetings and making sure that we hear them. And as councilman, I'm not just a person that's going to listen to them, but I'm going to communicate with them to make sure that their needs are addressed, that these problems we work on and be proactive about it. Not just waiting for a phone call and saying, hey, you know, we're having this problem. I think we know that there's a problem there, but we need to be proactive in making sure our staff knows about it. And, you know, something that I learned in college, you know, you learn everything about in business school, in finance, in management, in different sectors. But something that stuck to me was the continuous improvement methodology. And it's you can always improve in all areas and in whatever you're doing. And that's the main thing that I'm going to ask myself and my staff each and every day is how can we improve the lives of our residents today? And that's how I'm going to move my district forward.
Thank you. Mr. Cruz.
Yeah, I think this is a really good question because District 4 is very unique when it comes to the geography. You know, anytime we're asking our friends and family throughout this campaign of where they live, sometimes those boundaries get a little intertwined with some of the other districts because it spreads, as Edward was mentioning, from Petrenko Road inside the loop all the way down to Military and Palo Alto and the southwest side of District 4, and there are different needs of the district. That's why it's very important, as I had pushed for Community Citizens Board, to ensure that there's representation from all sides of the district that meet monthly to be able to address the concerns from everybody. Because we also understand that we cannot address every single issue that comes in. But if we could come to a consensus for District 4 on what the top needs are from the citizens themselves, then that gives us an opportunity to lay the work and to ensure that there's equity with the funding for District 4 from all parts of the district to address the varying needs.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's about transparency for me. You go out and you meet with the people. As a council person, I would be out. I'd go to the different parts of District 4. We've already talked about what they are, and make sure that I personally hear from everybody. You can go to the neighborhood associations, but not like in mine. Not many people show up to them. So it's about getting out there, having the town halls, as Mr. Martinez was talking about, and making sure you give them the opportunity to come and hear from me, and I hear from you. And then you prioritize and you make sure that those things are getting done in the way that they need to get done so that everybody gets a piece of the pie. Because this is something that the issues that we have in District 4 are not something that you're going to take care of in 1 year, 2 years. The big thing that I take away from this election is that this is the first time that somebody's going to be sitting in that dais for 4 straight years, and that you can get a lot done in that 4 years if you know what you're doing. If you don't, then it's just going to continue to be the same thing that we've gone through for the last decade. Thank you.
Thank you all. With that, we are just about out of time. I'm going to give you each 1 more minute to make a closing argument to our audience. And we'll go back down the line. If you're not too tired of talking, Mr. Arrellano, don't you start us off?
Okay. Thank you. So, as I said in the opening and throughout, I am the only one that has 35 years of experience in the business world and in education, good and bad, and at SAWS. So I've been a leader, I am a leader, and as it is right now, even though the state did take over South San, I still am the representative for District 2 at South San. So I'm the only one that has that kind of experience. I've gone through the highs, I've gone through the lows, I've balanced multi-million-dollar budgets and billion-dollar budgets. So, and I've got all the leadership experience. I've got the contacts with the county. I got the contacts at the state and federal level. So, and there are things that I can bring, and only I can bring to District 4 City Council to make sure that we do finally, take advantage of District 4 and all the opportunities that it has for its residents and especially its children. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cruz, your closing statement.
No, I truly believe that elections are about the future. And in this election, it's about the future of District 4. This election isn't about who could raise more money or secure more endorsements. This election is about all of you, the ordinary people that work hard every single day. And we need an individual who's going to put politics aside to really address the needs of District 4 and to ensure that we demand equity with city services in our community. I love our community. And when this election is over, I'm sure all of my colleagues up here, we're all going to be fine. We all have strong support from our family and our friends. I just hope we could say the same about the people of District 4. So I humbly ask for your support, and it's been a humbling experience in this election to bring your concerns and your issues to City Hall to do the people's work. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez, your closing statement.
Sure, thank you. You know, we could all say what experience we have, the education that we've received, but you know, none of that really matters. What really matters is that you really care and you're really passionate for your community. You know, I'm born and raised here, and one thing I am sure of, that District 4 has the hardest working, most dedicated people in San Antonio. And I'm confident, not if, but when I'm elected to serve this district, District 4 is going to shine brighter than any other district in San Antonio in terms of economic progress and academic achievement. And I'm ready to serve as your councilman, just you know, how you deserve to be represented. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mungia, your closing statement.
Thank you very much. I'm proud to say I'm a proud product of District 4, and I've been able to chase a dream because my parents worked so hard throughout their whole life. This is not something that they could see for themselves, but they knew early on it was something I wanted to do, help people, especially in government. So I'm very, very proud to be here. I'm very proud to have the endorsements and the support I have, not just from District 4, but all across the city of San Antonio, because they know that I'm the best person to lead this district forward. I'm the only candidate who's actually done town halls for residents, the only candidate who's gotten sidewalks done for residents, the only candidate to get things passed at City Hall, policies that affect apartment complexes and bad landlords. So I'm extremely proud of that, and for all the challenges and solutions and things we have in District 4, we cannot afford to have somebody that needs on-the-job training. I'll be ready, not just on day one, I'm ready yesterday to lead this district forward. Thank you all for coming out again, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you. Let's have a huge round of applause for all of our candidates. Thank you all for being here. Hold on just one second, a little bit of information for the room. Thank you all for being here. We're going to take a short break between debates. We're about to get going with District 6 in about 10 minutes. If all of the District 6 candidates who are here could come over here to this side and kind of gather, we'll go over the debate rules with you, and we'll get started in just about 10 minutes. I also want to note that there's one more candidate in this race who wasn't able to be here. Gregorio de la Paz is also running for District 4. There's information in our voter guide on our website about all the candidates, but we have almost 100% participation in these debates. So thank you all for being here.